changing topics a bit, the board is also looking at an agreement with schools that's being called the first of its kind to enhance stormwater infrastructure, specifically at the Reed Elementary site. What's going on here?
It's amazing. Shall I take it?
Yeah.
I love this one. So, you left my least favorite, you're going to my favorite one.
See, it all balances out.
It all balances out. So the schools are building Reed School already, and we had looked at putting a water retention, think huge cistern under the ground to catch rainwater. That particular area in Westover was so hard hit by the floods in 2019. And it's clear that we have major work to do, and our staff has been looking at what they can do there and finding how difficult it is, in part because a lot of streams have been undergrounded. We may need to make pipes bigger, add more, move them, but there are buildings and houses and roads already on top of that. So it makes it very difficult to do. And what we realized was with schools doing this construction already, and we had looked at putting a small a water catchment area underneath one of the fields, we realized we could make this really big and catch a lot of water. So I think this is going to take, I believe it's about 75% of the water that's coming off should be able to get into this large underground water retention area, and then it will slowly drain out. So it's basically to slow down. When Mother Nature takes a bucket and goes whomp on top of us, it can go right into the cistern and then drain off gradually and not flood the homes and the businesses, at least not as much. It won't end the problem. But it was just really cool the way it worked out. I think pretty much everybody's happy about it, and it will save money and effort in the end to have to do lots of little efforts along this way. It'll save some trees that we don't have to take down, and it should make it a lot better for these big storms coming. So that was my favorite one, so I took it, Christian. What would you like?
No, that's totally it. I mean, it's a great story. I mean, it's so rare that we get the ability to implement a solution that actually solves a real concrete problem. This is not speculative. This is one that we've dealt with. And, 75–80% of the 10-year storm's output is going to be able to be accommodated in this watershed with this solution. And this eliminates the need to find other solutions, as Libby mentioned, which would add up to being much costlier and certainly with no certainty that we could actually do them. So we've got a sure solution to a significant problem that's manifested itself in the Torreyson Run watershed. It is a great example of collaboration with county government and schools, utilizing a joint facility, not for an above ground building that people use, but for underground infrastructure that everybody needs. So I share your enthusiasm, Madam Chair.
It's a good way to start getting into the next year, which is going to be a better one, right?
Well, and on that note, what else, Christian, you mentioned other solutions. What else is the county doing or planning to do to increase that flood resiliency throughout Arlington?
Well, just in November, Arlington voters approved $50+ million for a stormwater bond, which is going to allow us to implement what has been a very thoughtfully designed staff approach. They call it the blended approach to dealing with stormwater management. And it allows for us to do large scale projects such as this, smaller scale projects to increase the capacity of pipes to handle stormwater overflow, to find solutions to watershed issues so that huge flooding can be mitigated as it impacts people's residences and homes. But also as part of this effort, it's using these investments to then better inform people about the changes that they need to make their own properties more flood resilient. So instead of imagine the situation that we had last July 8th, where we had an unprecedented event that had an unprecedented impact on people and very few folks understanding, well, what can we do in the future to not see this disastrous result? Well, now we're pursuing a plan and voters have improved the resources so that we can do what government can do and then help inform other people of what they can do to deal with the 10-year storms and the 100-year storms or the catastrophic events that unfortunately we have to prepare for as we confront climate change.
Yeah, and I think mitigation is the key word, and really there's a lot of public education there. There's no way that we're going to prevent 100% of flooding ever, but there are a lot of things, we can do our part, and then residents and businesses need to do their part as well. And working as a team, we should be able to prevent the worst of the flooding, no matter what Mother Nature sends us. And at some points, it was really risking, life.
Right.
There's life safety issues. So I'm really pleased we're doing this.